All right, it is 6:30. We'll get started. We'll call the meeting to order, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's nice and humid outside, so I guess that's a good thing, but I think we can still use more rain. All right, roll call, Mr. Lundberg.
Owen.
Yes.
Odie. Yes. Saxer. Yes. Scott is absent. Bell.
Yes.
All right, with that, we have an amended agenda in front of us. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended, please.
So approved with the amendment.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. No conflict of interest disclosure or waiver requests this evening. Community input? I'm not seeing any this evening. That takes us to general business. Our first item under oral reports, good news report from Brandon Valley Middle School with the Junior Achievement Finance Park.
Thank you. We are provided a really cool opportunity this year
Thank
by
you.
Junior Achievement to. Sorry. All right. We got a really cool option this year brought to us by Junior Achievement to participate in the Finance Park program that they put together. Mrs. Hoosier has taken that on with her Links Learning, so I am going to let her walk you through everything that was offered to our kids.
Hi, I'm Mallory Hoosier. I teach 7th and 8th graders at the middle school, and this is my first year doing Links Learning, and so this was fun to get to incorporate this into our classroom. So to give a little background knowledge, Links Learning is basically a class for our 7th graders on how to set them up to make good choices and make them figure out ways to have successful choices, not only in middle school, but as they get older. And so part of that were financial choices. And so that's where Finance Park came in. And it's a super awesome program. Like Ms. Hoff said, this is our first year of utilizing it. I believe, Dr. Nelson, did you hand out the booklets? Okay, perfect. So that is what we use in terms of our air quote curriculum for the lessons that I teach. They're super awesome. I could talk about those for a very long time, but we don't have enough time for that. So, but feel free to scan through those. There's 4 main units that we talk about. Income, which talks a lot about careers, and then savings, investing, and risk management. Debit versus credit, and then budgeting at the very end. And budgeting is actually what Junior Achievement spends most of their program on, so that's kind of, that's kind of the big topic we talk about. So I have these students for 9, 10-ish weeks, a quarter, and then we get to take them to this simulation that Junior Achievement provides, and it's called Finance Park. And we did it just because I was going on maternity leave. We did it a little bit differently. We had one group, so my semester 1 kids went in March, so I could still go and participate and see what it's all about. And then my second semester kids are gonna get to go here, I think next week. So yeah, they'll love it. But so what happens is we take these kids into a space that Junior Achievement rents, and they have 20 different stations set up. There are all the stations up there. I won't read through them because there's a lot, but it's basically everything that, we use to budget. And so that little screenshot there is what the kids start their day with. So they're given an iPad. And the iPad, it asks them a few questions, and then it kind of gives them this virtual life. They get an avatar, and they get this situation like, you're married, you have 2 kids, you have a dog, this is your career. Like, it goes through the whole thing for them. And so you can't change the situation you're given. So if you've got 2 kids, you've got 2 kids for the whole time. That was very eye-opening for a lot of them. And so what they do is they take, I think they said total it's like 5 hours is about what we spend there, but that includes lunch and, some of those things. But that's kind of just an example of what the kids they go through, I think it's 5 minutes per station, and they have their little iPad. When they get to a certain station, like let's say they get to I don't know, mortgage. The person has a code that the kids are given. They type it in, and then it gives them all these different options that kids can pick from, so they get a little bit of freedom in their budget. They know how much money they were given at the beginning. They know how much they've spent already, so they can kind of, gauge that as they go through the process. And they do that 20 different times. This program would not be able to run without the JA volunteers. They have, at least 20 people come in, each one per station. I think JA said that they can send out like an email, I don't know how you say that, like an email blast to like certain locations. So like if we wanted Brandon Valley parents, they can kind of send that out to people in our community. So we had people here, if they wanted to volunteer, they kind of have a first dibs on that. But otherwise, there's, like I said, 20 people there, anyone from banking to housing, construction, anything that you can think of. They even have businesses that sponsor. So we saw that there were a few people wearing banking shirts from, a local bank, and so that was kind of cool. But these volunteers were super awesome, very, very patient, and they really helped our kids think through their choices. Like, if a kid sat down, they're like, oh my gosh, I do not have enough money for this. They'd kind of talk through things with them. So they were awesome. These are just some stats that JA has. After students go through the JA Finance Park simulation event, 99% know how to build a budget. 92% plan on working harder in school to improve their grades, and 97% know the importance of staying in school to get the job they want. I think that was a fun part. Again, they give them this random life, so some kids got careers that they didn't even know, it maybe wasn't their first choice, but that was what they had, and that they kind of got to learn a little bit more about careers that way too. So after experiencing this program and teaching it for almost a year, I was just thinking about our mission statement here at Brandon Valley, and there was just a lot that I felt pulled from it. First of all, preparing our kids to be lifelong learners. I think this totally just blends in with that really well. Our kids really had to think about their current situation in the event they were given, but then it helped them think forward too, like, oh wow, like I had to save this amount of money. Maybe in my real life, what are things that I'm gonna need to do to be successful there? Positive learning environment. I think JA did a fabulous job of creating a positive learning environment for our kids. They did really awesome. I know I'm a little bit biased because I'm their teacher, but they had a great day, and part of that was because the environment that was created allowed them to. Some kids failed, and I don't mean fail, but like in terms of their budget, I think they learned that they maybe made a mistake. Ooh, I got to go back maybe and fix that. But they didn't question that because they're JA volunteers and the staff there, and even we had myself and 2 counselors there, just walking around, supporting, encouraging them. So I think that environment was really positive for them. And then the last thing is that, it takes all of us to create this successful environment. I'm gonna start out with the obvious, the community members. This would not have run without them. I've already said that. They were fantastic. The businesses were awesome. I'm gonna skip up to the students. I'm gonna brag on the students a little bit. They were awesome. Like, they had such a great day, and they were very invested. They were engaged. They were very reflective also. It challenged them. It made them think about, how many times I hear, Mrs. Hoosier, kids are expensive. I'm like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. But it got them to think about, wow, the quote in green is actually something that a student wrote on their reflection at JA. I didn't realize the amount of money that is spent just to keep me alive. Now I know why my dad gets anxious when spending money. Fair. And then, of course, parents and guardians too, not even just through the simulation we went to, but just throughout the unit, emailing parents and be like, hey, talk to your kids about this. And a lot of my kids, I'd even say hey, can we go, make sure you talk to your guardians about it. Go home, go ask an adult, just create these conversations, because I think you're gonna learn a lot about not just yourself, but also about your guardians. I think that's a really cool conversation to have. And so kids would come back to class and be like, oh, Mrs. Hoosier, this is what we talked about. So I just think with all those pieces combined, it was a really positive experience. Thinking forward, this program is so much. I think my first time teaching it was in October, and I went to Dr. Nelson, and I'm like, Dr. Nelson, I could teach this for a whole quarter itself. You know, I only get, it's part of what I teach in Links Learning. Like, I could talk a whole quarter on this. This booklet has so much good stuff in it. JA provides expansion activities. They actually provide 2 teaching routes. One is a traditional route, but then one is more project-based, which I think is just awesome. And then there actually is a JA Finance Park Advanced. We are the, what is it, that entry level, thank you. We are entry level, but talking to the JA staff at the event, they were like, yeah, we've got local schools that they're starting it in like 7th and 8th grade with entry, but then their juniors are doing, you know, the advanced, so it kind of ties in together. So I thought that was really cool. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, but it was a really cool program, and I'm excited for our kids to go next week. I think they'll really enjoy it. So this kind of, yeah, any questions you guys have?
So just for, and I apologize, I should know this. When it's Links Learning, so that means every student is exposed or it's elective?
Is elective, Yep, so I would say, I mean, a decent chunk of our kids are in it, but yeah, it's elective, so I don't have all of them.
Okay, that's great. I just applaud you being a part of bringing this program along with your administrators, Hoff and Nelson, for bringing this to the district. We always talk about our strategic plan, about we're proud of where we are with leading the state, but we're never satisfied, and this continues to push the envelope and make sure they're supporting students. So thank you so much for being part of that.
Yes, well, Dr. Nelson brought this up last year, and I'm like, once I saw the booklet, it's awesome, it's really cool. So I'd like to keep going with it, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there.
How many students did you say are in your class for this?
Rough estimation, I would say 200.
200? Awesome, thank you. so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. Actually, it worked out really well to take 2 separate groups. I mean, everybody will get to go, but just to kind of split it up, that way the kids had a really good, when we split it up by semester, the kids had more individual, you know, it wasn't overloading our groups. They kind of got a little more individualized attention, you know, splitting it up in 2 separate days. So it actually worked out really nicely, so.
You said in your closing statements, well, let me back up. You're basically, this program is sort of a foundation or the footings for a econ or family sciences or to develop a budget or
Correct.
to teach the kids. And do you see Brandon building this all the way through for the next 5 years? I mean, 8th through 12th or?
That would be
segments?
awesome. I mean, I don't know, but that would be,
I
that
mean-
would be fantastic.
If you've introduced the kids, you want to keep them on top of it instead of losing. Whoops. And so I think you're doing an awesome job. If you can keep it coming, it'd be great.
Thank you. One way I know that we do kind of already do that is that in the first unit, income, talks a lot about careers and the 16 different, thank you, clusters. And then in 8th grade, we have an opportunity for them to take careers, which dives more into those clusters too. So I know that's one way, maybe not so much on the budgeting route, but in terms of careers, that's a really cool connect, tying the piece in there that we already kind of have at the middle school.
Ms. Hoosier, great job. Thank you so much, Brandon Valley Middle School admin and yourself for the great work that you did with JA Finance Park. I also want to just give a shout out to JA in particular and the work that they do within the district. They have programming throughout our various buildings and levels. So thank you to them, but thank you so much for all that you do and making this come to life.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, administration reports, superintendent's report, Superintendent Larson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple items to update the board on here this evening. Berkman Valley Elementary School construction project, again, would point our patrons and community to that respective website for photos and floor plan information, et cetera. Progress continues. Would tell you that all the trades are continuing to move forward. I think the most notable item, if you were to drive out and take a look right now, is the amount of masonry that has been completed, but the external foundations, or exterior foundations are done, interior foundations are in progress, along with all of that respective utility work and rough-in business. Would ask that if board members would like to take an individual site tour of that construction project, reach out to me directly and we can coordinate a time and date to take a look. The Brandon Valley Middle School edition, there is a web page dedicated to that respective project as well. I would anticipate we see action here in the coming days in terms of activity out of Visions Construction, who received the bid. Would note that that construction will start here and will continue throughout all of next year, 25-26 school year, and is scheduled to be complete in the fall of 2026. Budget process, we've obviously spoken about this at great depth since December. Would note May, you will receive the preliminary budget presentation, and in July, we will have our public budget hearing and take potential action. Road construction projects, we continue to talk about the 2 seasons in South Dakota, winter and road construction. We are most certainly in road construction season. Fair amount of temporary traffic controls and unintended fluctuations in traffic patterns with what we've got going on within the district. Appreciate everyone's patience and understanding. We continue to monitor that Highway 42 project. And again, if we have to make an adjustment at semester, we will do that in the upcoming year, but at this time, no plans. For the Board of Education, Brandon Valley School District Employee Recognition Banquet is Tuesday, May 6th. Here at Brandon Valley High School in the Commons. Please mark your calendar as we celebrate all of our employees. Negotiations and timeline, again, we are getting through that respective process. Today will mark the last hurdle in that process with administrative salary recommendations and superintendent negotiations. Hard to believe we're talking about graduation, but it's the next thing on the academic calendar. So May 11th, we will celebrate our commencement ceremony at 2 p.m. here at Brandon Valley High School. So if the board wants to meet in the Commons about 10 minutes prior to that, we'll make our way in for the ceremony. May 22nd is our last day for students. Looking forward to next academic calendar, would note that new staff will be with us on August 12th. We have in-service on the 14th and the 18th, and then the 19th is also in service, but that would be our all-staff welcome back. So if you want to mark your calendar for Tuesday, August 19th, for our all-staff welcome back, that's in the books. And then the first day of school for all of our kiddos, grades 1 through 12, will be on that Wednesday, August 20th. Wednesday and Thursday, our junior kindergarten families have their respective classroom visits and tours. Friday, August 22nd is the first day for our junior kindergarten and kindergartners next year. And then Monday, August 25th marks the first day for early childhood. Also, very, very briefly and quickly, I just wanted to provide just a quick heads up of kind of what we'll be looking at once you start to see a little action over at Brandon Valley Middle School. So one of the very first things you'll see is construction fencing going up, and I would anticipate that construction fencing running along the sidewalk and up to what would be the southeast corner of the existing building. And the reason for that is we will be getting additional parking lot space within this construction project. So this area will be graded out and prepared for the parking lot. In addition to that, the east side will house 2 respective classroom additions. There's 5 classrooms down here in the southeast corner and 5 up here in the northeast corner. I would anticipate construction beginning in those respective areas. The east side of Brandon Valley Middle School will certainly be impacted, as that's where the staging area and laydown area will be. There will be construction trailers, et cetera. So anticipate there being an impact to the east side of Brandon Valley Middle School. Also impacted relatively early on in the process will be the northeast corner, and that is where our locker room expansion and our wrestling room or multi-purpose room will be going in, northwest corner. Yep, northwest corner of Brandon Valley Middle School will be impacted. There's also a transformer up in that corner that will have to be moved and updated. So we will have a power outage at some point in the month of June. We anticipate that being approximately 1 day. We'll communicate with folks in as timely a manner as possible, but right now we don't have that scheduled, but it's important to note that that will be happening. And then once school gets out here this school year, then they will also be moving over to the kitchen area, as there is a kitchen expansion on the middle school as well, but that will not start until the school year is complete. Yeah, big ticket items. Number one, it's very, very critical that individuals stay out of designated construction zones that are marked off by fencing. In addition to that, obey and adhere to all safety signage associated with the construction project. But would anticipate seeing action begin at Brandon Valley Middle School any day. With that, would certainly entertain any questions that you may have.
I got one, Jared. In the kitchen area, will that be completed before school starts this year as far as for traffic and trucks and vans?
So the actual addition or construction work done on the kitchen will not be complete, but the kitchen will remain in operation for the school year. And there will be traffic flow allowable on the west side up there to that northwest corner as well. But there will be ongoing construction in that respective area, but the kitchen remains in operation for the school year.
Did you say how long the transformer outage will be? Just a day or an hour?
Yeah, approximately 1 day is what we hope for. And again, that is not happening until June. Kind of the message that we try to relay to middle school staff is, this is the summer to leave. Like, go away. Don't reorganize the closets in June in your classroom. Just stay away if at all possible. But we are not certain when it will happen, but will happen in the month of June, and we anticipate a day or two we'll communicate to middle school admin when we have that information.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Larson. Next, general business, item number 1, to approve the purchase and 7-year adoption of the JK-12 Science Curriculum Delivery Model at a one-time cost of $451,523.15, effective for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Madam Chair, I will turn it over to our Director of Instruction, Sherry Nelson. But before I do, just want to give hats off to her and her development team and all of the work that they do within the district, specifically on curriculum adoptions. They work a thorough process involving staff, admin, parents, et cetera. So certainly appreciate the thoughtful process that goes into the work. Without further ado, Director Nelson.
Very good, thank you. Can we pull up the PowerPoint? This is the full report that's in your board packet already. Then we could just scroll to the bottom of the report. All right, I'm going to start first with a process overview. This process started in the summer of 2024 when we formed our curriculum committee. And the committee members represent all buildings, all grade levels, and also have representatives from the Department of Special Services, English Learners, and Technology. In the fall of 2024, vendors presented their curriculum to the committee. In March of 2025, parent committee reviewed the proposed curriculum materials. Today, we are presenting, of course, to you, May 2025. If it's approved tonight, we will do professional development for the teachers. July 2025 would be the purchase of the materials, and fall of 2025, the planning would continue for lesson planning, and the curriculum implementation begins. As far as what's encompassing the proposal, Junior kindergarten is going to go with Scholastic magazines. This is something they've already been using, and we will continue for another 7 years with that. Kindergarten through grade 5 is using Mystery Science currently, and they would like to continue with that for another 7 years. Grade 5 is a little bit different at Brandon Valley in that most elementaries, they only teach social studies and science a couple of days a week. But because grade 5 is in our intermediate school, they get science every day, a full class period every day. So we need a little more curriculum for those students and teachers, and so we are also asking for Science Studies Weekly. It's an informational text, a weekly magazine that will give them good opportunities to practice their reading skills, which reinforces our ELA. It's also the platform that we're using for social studies next year, so they'll be very familiar with the magazines because they'll be using them in social studies and science. Grades 6 through 8 are going with the Savvis curriculum. This is a switch from the McGraw-Hill. The teachers like the online platform of Savvis much better, and 7 years since our last adoption, our teachers and our students have become way more tech savvy, and that becomes more important. Grades 9 through 12 are going to be purchasing a variety of products. But one thing that's important to note is that biology and physical science also went with the same company that the middle school did, so that we have the continuity going from 8th grade into 9th grade and 10th grade. Biology 2 is looking at National Geographic Cengage. Chemistry and anatomy are going to use McGraw-Hill. Something interesting about this is we've always had Alex Math before in this district, but now our students would have Alex Chemistry. And we think that that will be huge for student knowledge in the area of chemistry. Honors and AP Chemistry, Integrated Science, and Physics are going with the Pearson curriculum. And then, of course, we have professional development planned, only for grades 5 through 12 because JK through 4th grade would be using the materials that they're already using, and so they're familiar with that. And that comes to a grand total of $451,523.15. I'll take any questions that you may have.
I don't think we have any.
Very good.
Thank you. All right, so with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase and 7-year adoption of what I had already discussed previously.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Under consent approval, I would entertain a motion to approve items 2 through 6, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Personnel, I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 12, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. There's an information only there for item 13. Takes us to communication. There are a couple thank you notes there under the Board of Education from some of our employees' families. Board reports. Does anyone have a board report that they would like to share this evening?
This is just recognition, which probably everybody throughout the district's already aware, but for the public, we're coming up on choosing our next teacher of the year with also the new classified staff, which we're very excited to do. But our previous year, Ms. Gina Sershin, she was our teacher of the year. She actually just won Region 2. So we are very excited for her because she'll now go and compete, so to speak, at the state level. So very proud. It's just reinforces the fact that we do have the best staff, not just the best in South Dakota, the best teachers and staff here in Brandon Valley. Also, just a big shout out to a very successful and fun high school musical that just wrapped up. So that fantastic job to all those involved.
Thank you. Anyone else have a report tonight? If not, that looks like it takes us to the end of our regular agenda, but I need a motion to go into executive session for South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2.4 for superintendent contract negotiations, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. We will excuse everyone else. Thank you for coming. Ready? You're out. All right, it is 7:10. We will come out of executive session. With that, I would entertain a motion if anyone has one.
I'd like to make a motion for Superintendent Jared Larson, administrative wage recommendation of an additional 2.5%, congruent with everybody else, as well as the 2,000 mid-year bonus. And all contractual components stay consistent and the same as they have been previously set.
Second.
All right, there's been a first and a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.